the idea of an empire and full-fledged business, it hadn't entered my mind yet to scare me. And so I just kind of started. But once, I was making money, then I'm like, oh, this could really be a business. And I think that's when kind of the fear initially happens. Like, do I have what it takes to pull this off? Do I have the money? Do I have the resources? Do I just have, the drive to see this through, not having known anyone personally or, who has started something like this from the ground up and who's taken it to the level that if I do this, that I want it to go to. Hi, this is Dominique Boseman, founder of SPRAISE, and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
Dream Drivers, Disneyland Resort invites you to celebrate soulfully this summer at the happiest place on earth. There are so many things to explore. I'm a big foodie, so while in downtown Disney District, I might want to check out Creole cuisine at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen or discover new favorites from local Black-owned food trucks while listening to live nightly music. There are so many ways to feed every part of your soul throughout the Disneyland Resort, making this summer the perfect time to visit. Visit Disneyland.com for more details. Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 312 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Today, our guest is Dominique Boseman. Dominique is the founder and CEO of SPRAISE, which she founded after years of suffering from eczema, and she wanted to create a no-compromise solution for clean beauty and to help raise the standard of personal care products for women of color. So SPRAISE means skin praise, and Dominique wanted her products to inspire people to reimagine what it means to care for their skin. SPRAISE is currently sold at Whole Foods Market, Nordstrom and JCPenney stores. And I love this about Dominique as well. She is a lawyer and received her law degree from Loyola University, Chicago School of Law. And this episode is going to detail how she went from being a lawyer to opening her own skincare brand. There's a lot for all of us to get out of this one. And I think what you'll love, whether or not you want to be a beauty entrepreneur or not, is just hearing how Dominique was able to really tap into her skill sets and hone in on belief and vision to create something that will be long lasting and will be here for generations to come. Remember, if you want to join our Dream Drivers, The Keys newsletter, right? And get weekly updates in your email inbox, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Remember, wherever you're listening online, make sure you're following us, right? We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So go ahead, follow us, engage, post this episode to your Instagram stories. Let people know that you love Dreams and Drive podcasts. I really do appreciate when I see you guys out there spreading the Dreams and Drive gospel. All right, let's hear from Dominique.
Hi, Raina. Thanks so much for having me.
I am super excited to have you on. As we were chatting previously, right? I love when I get referrals from past guests, and your friend Rochelle Porter recommended that you be on the show, and here you are now, and our dream drivers are in for a treat to hear about your dream driving journey.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's always great to have friends who mention your name when you're not around, especially, girlfriends who do that. So I am thankful to Rochelle and just thrilled to be chatting with you today.
Yes. So, as I say all the time, I really think it's important for us to reflect on who we were as children. So let's go back to Chicago, right? You were raised in Chicago. Am I correct?
Yes, I was. Yes. Chicago is near and dear to my heart.
Let's go back to the young Dominique, right? Growing up in Chicago as a young girl, what was inspiring you? Like, how did you see the world? What were the dreams for you back then?
You know what? When I was younger, so I have a younger brother, but we're 7 years apart. So I was like an only child for the most part. And I, love to read. I got immersed in books. And still today, I could literally finish a book in a couple of hours, like 3 or 4 hours. I just did that last week. So I had a huge library. And just was always in my imagination, and loved to read. I love, the art. So I was a dancer, anything creative and artistic. I was really inspired by that. As I got older, I, really found my niche in wellness, and healthy living, healthy lifestyle. But young Dominique just, loved to make the world beautiful, through dance, through writing, through poetry. And I still do the same things today.
It's funny because I always say, like, I feel like all of the past guests that I've had on the show, I would have been cool with you as kids. Because I'm like, yo, we would have probably been friends. Like, all those things are definitely how I remember my childhood. Like, did you have a big dream? Or did you think that, all right, when I'm, I always say, when I'm 25, I'm going to be this. It's funny when I go back and look at like old writings of mine. I'm like, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to have 8 kids, 8 cars. It's like we have this idea of what life is going to be like. Do you remember what you thought your life would be like as an adult?
You know what? I don't think I had a specific dream. I think that, and I had to grow out of this. I was, somewhat of a people pleaser, and kind of had these perfectionistic tendencies, a high achieving, young woman. And so I knew that I was going to be important in the world, right? I wanted to be important. I wanted to, call the shot. Very early on, I was really, heavily involved in nonprofits and service organizations. And so even throughout my law school career, really focused on human rights and civil rights and NGOs. And so I wanted to be important, but there was a service bent, towards helping others and, having compassion and sharing, what I have, what I've learned with other people. And so I figured that I would be, a psychologist, a social worker, something along those lines, maybe even a teacher. But, life has other plans.
Life has other plans. Well, that could be a show within itself, right? Life has other plans. So you went on to college and you studied psychology then, right? Like, did you?
Yeah.
And then you went on to get your, to become a lawyer and then get your JD. But was that the plan? Like, once you got to college, you realized, all right, let me go down this path, or did you stumble upon psychology?
So psychology was the plan because, like I said, I wanted to help people, and I thought that would be a good way to go. It was actually psychology pre-med. Then once I got there and took chemistry, I was like, no, we're not doing the pre-med part, but I can stick with psychology. And then actually my junior year at Xavier, I was looking for an internship and, I've always had a lot of different interests, and social justice was one of them. So I saw an internship at the Orleans Public Defender's Office. I applied and I got in, and so I spent a summer working with public defenders in New Orleans, with indigent clients, and decided that, I would like to do this. I'm going to apply for law school and take the LSAT the following year. And so that's really kind of how my interest, how the law school kind of came into my purview, and really working with the people in New Orleans, just kind of seeing, how difficult it was to exonerate some of our clients, or even to mitigate their sentencing, and so just saw the bias in the system and wanted to help, and thought I could maybe make a difference, from that perspective.
Did at any point, during this part of your life, did you ever have an inkling for entrepreneurship?
I really didn't have entrepreneurship in mind. I knew that I never really, the jobs, like every place that I've worked, at some point I would always be bored, no matter how exciting it was, or how, I was really interested in the work, at some point, I would just want to create, have control over my time and be able to live my life and, and work and not have, either or, right? Either fun or work, right? Or wellness or work. And so I didn't think entrepreneurship, but there was a restlessness, I'll say, about my spirit, that entrepreneurship, once I got into it, it made sense.
Let's keep that there. That's this restlessness in your spirit. I'm going to come back to that. So you were a Black female lawyer out here in the working world, right? What was that like? And I say that because we've had prior, on prior episodes, we've had lawyers on the show, and they always speak to this disparity that they see just like in the world when you are a Black female lawyer, right? And just seeing how little or how sometimes there isn't as much representation. Like, what was your experience being a lawyer? And yeah, let's start with that. Like, what was your experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, I did some federal criminal defense. I also worked, human rights and civil rights law. And just my personal experience, I am highly sensitive, person. And, the work for me, seeing Black and brown people in these systems represented, by people who didn't look like them, largely was really disheartening, or being sentenced by judges or having, people make decisions about their lives, sometimes without understanding the full person or the full picture. I really, as a Black woman, it was sad. It was tough work. And then, I found that, sometimes when you're doing public service or public interest law, and you're working with, your clients are, Black and brown folks who may not have a lot of money. A lot of the attorneys are not, and so you're dealing with colleagues too that are doing good work, right? They're in the trenches. They're doing good work. But there is just a disparity, even in human rights law. If I was in Tanzania doing some work and some research, and the only Black person on the team, right? And so I think that it just starts to weigh on you when you see the disparity and when you see that we're not the decision makers, we're not the gatekeepers. Things have changed now, but kind of just out of law school when I was working, it was, I think, mentally and emotionally, it was pretty heavy to navigate.
So, one of the things that I want to ask you then is, what were you learning about yourself during this time? Right? Because I know to be a lawyer and to be a good one, right? And to work in like the human rights fields, like you had to start developing an expertise in some area, but at the same time, also developing some personal confidence as well, right? Like, what were you realizing? Wow, Dominique, you're really a star at this.
Well, I think I was learning. I think what law school, and subsequent work really taught me was that I am a fighter. And I think that as women, we don't fight, right? Sometimes. And I am, quick to compromise. I'm definitely usually the peacemaker. But when it's something I believe in, when it's important, I am persistent and I'm a fighter. And I think that, finishing law school through all the obstacles and, not really knowing if this is what I really want to do, but doing it and doing it well, definitely showed me my self-worth. And it definitely showed me my ability to be resilient, and to really, if I say I'm going to do it and I put effort into it, then it's going to get done, and so that's important to learn. And especially entrepreneurship, it's important to have that skill set and those ideas in your toolkit, because they will definitely come in handy.
So let us talk about SPRAISE, right? 2018. What was going on in your life? And why did you say, let me make some products? What was going on? I know that's a very truncated, that's a very abbreviated version, right? But give us the details.
Yeah, it's real, because so I have, struggled with eczema and dry skin my entire life. Used to be really bad when I was younger. And I was, I was having an episode where I was just trying to find something that I could put on my arm so it could stop itching, and so I've always, like I said, been into health and wellness and, plant-based, skincare. And so I literally, was researching ingredients that were good for skin health and dry skin and sensitive skin. And I started putting them all together. I'm like, we're gonna get some relief. And literally in my in my apartment, came up with a recipe for what is now, our best-selling product, our body valve. It was really just for me and my own personal use. Once family and friends tried it, and it helped some of their also eczema and discoloration. And I thought, hey, maybe I can see what happens with this. But it was also still, me, the stores that I love to shop at, like Whole Foods, my healthy food stores and things like that. They didn't have products that would help me, and that were chic, right? But also effective. And so, I thought that body care could really be a time to care for your skin, to make it, to make sure that it's healthy, but, a moment of real self-care, because we need that so much. And I just found that was lacking. And so, I'm like, this product, I have it, it's working, let's build a brand around, self-care and also emotional well-being. Meditation is a big part of my life. And so each product has an ode to self. It's like a little mini meditation to do. And so building a brand around, skin health first and foremost, but also taking a moment to take care of yourself holistically was something that, I hadn't seen, and something that I really wanted for myself.
So were you nervous? I asked this because that's always like the first thing, right? Like, how did you get that? Or what was your experience like when you realized, all right, I'm going to actually try to sell this, right? I'm actually going to try to build a brand. Were you overwhelmed, or were you ready to attack?
Well, I wasn't overwhelmed because I started really small. I went to a vendor market, at a university that they were, having vendors come in and set up and sell things. So I'm like, if I sell out today, that'd be great. I wasn't thinking I'm going to have a whole business, it was just I'm going to sell these body butter. And this is kind of fun. So I think, the idea of an empire and full-fledged business, it hadn't entered my mind yet to scare me. And so I just kind of started. But once, I was making money, then I'm like, oh, this could really be a business. And I think that's when kind of the fear initially happens. Do I have what it takes to pull this off? Do I have the money? Do I have the resources? Do I just have, the drive to see this through, not having known anyone personally, or, who has started something like this from the ground up, and who's taken it to the level that if I do this, that I want it to go to.
Hey, dream drivers. I'm all about adventure and dream driving, so I want to let you know about family-friendly fun you need. This summer, Disneyland Resort invites you to celebrate soulfully at the happiest place on earth. Here are my picks of what you definitely want to check out. From June 1st to July 4th, you can enjoy Celebrate Soulfully offerings that coincide with Black Music Month. Disney California Adventure Park is offering live music, celebrating the sounds of doo-wop and Motown, and Downtown Disney District has the Soul of Jazz, an American adventure, a touring exhibit that illustrates the legacy and dynamic history of jazz. Y'all know I'm a foodie, so something I check out in Downtown Disney District is the Creole cuisine at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen. And if you're not into that, discover new faves from Black-owned food trucks. There are so many ways to feed every part of your soul throughout Disneyland Resort this summer. Theme park admission and park reservations are required for park entry. Visit Disneyland.com for more details. This episode of Dreams and Drive is brought to you by This Is Elle. Hey, my lady dream drivers. As a lot of you may know, I'm all about keeping it natural and keeping it healthy. And as a dream driver, I believe it is so important for us to take care of our mind, souls, and bodies. And the one time of the month that some of us may forget to do that is that time of the month, aka period time. So meet This Is Elle, period care inspired by nature. This Is Elle has a 100% organic cotton core. Elle tampons are organic cotton without that organic price. Elle is the #1 cotton brand in feminine care in the U.S., and it's made for everyone. Their tagline is, "We may not all look the same, but we are all created equal. So let's treat every person, every body, every vagina with love." L is for loving your body with clean and simple period care, free from synthetic pesticides and dyes. So as we're on this dream driving journey, let's invest in our feminine health, guys. If you're in the market for new feminine products, visit thisisl.com to learn more. You know, I think that's a good point that you have, because a lot of times what people aren't telling you, right, are a lot of times what people aren't saying is all the support that they have on the back end, or all like the people in their family who've done this before. And that's why things may have been a little bit easier for them, right? But for you, you said like you were one of the first, right? So a lot of this stuff you were doing for the first time. What was your like plan of attack? Did you say, all right, I'm going to find a mentor, or I'm just going to do trial and error? Like, where did you go to for that first business how to get started then?
Well, I've always been, it's like an only child syndrome, really, really resourceful, and really, I'm independent. So I just kind of dig in. So for a long time, it was really me finding the information. I'm online, I'm researching how to make a business plan, how to marketing 101 and, what we need to do. So for a long time, it was just me. I think fairly early on, kind of have we called it a mastermind group. There was another girl I went to law school with. She had a company, and another one of her friends was actually Gwen Jameer, who's the founder of Naturalicious, who is, doing amazing things right now. We had like a little small mastermind group, and so that was like the beginning of, connecting with other women in particular who were building something, and we had no idea, how, what we were doing. We were just kind of going, and we were figuring out like, where do you get labels from? Or, just like all the, how do you make your own labels, Isn't
there so much fun and joy in that process though, of just like, I remember my beginning days of building the podcast, right? Like when you don't know what you don't know, I feel like you just have so much more freedom to make mistakes. Does that make sense? Because you're legit just like, you're just out here trying things and learning things, and you're not necessarily thinking of, oh, this is not the way to do it. Like you really are just figuring out your own playbook.
Yeah. And you're not as hard on yourself, right? So you can bounce back, you just keep it moving, you do the best you can, and in your mind it's great, and so that really is the fun and the beauty of it. So my plan of attack really was, I know that I don't like to sell. Like I'm not a salesperson. I did those in-person events because you have to do that, to start off and to prove your concept and to, hone your message. But I really wanted to be in retail and be in stores, and support my sales through that way. And so fairly early on, I made a plan, to be in as many small stores, even in Chicago as I could. And so, once I kind of understood how to get into retail, even if it was at a smaller level, how to stay there, how to support the store owners and anticipate, what they would need from me. I just, kind of just honed in on what I was good at, and then it expanded from there.
I love that you mentioned that. And I'm curious, why retail? Because, I think of a lot of times people are choosing, hey, let's do direct to consumer. Let's do e-commerce, that's the way to go. But why retail distribution? Why was that why did you think that would be your selling point?
Yeah, well, e-commerce is great. I mean, and if you're talking about profit margins, definitely you want your e-commerce channel to be performing well. For me, I wanted SPRAISE to be about accessibility. I wanted people to be able to go into the store where they shop for everything else and be able to pick up their body care products, and not have to search for us on, only online. I wanted to make it easy for our products to be everywhere, because that was my frustration. When I was dealing with my eczema, I could have spent hours, looking up reviews and, ordering from, this obscure website to find this miracle cream. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be easy. I wanted it to be accessible and meet me, where I was. And so, that's what I thought was missing from, the retail experience for Black women, that we had to go to specific niche stores or, spend hours searching online for something that works for us. And it wasn't at the retailers that we spend most of our time at. And if you're a mother, if you have a family, like these are the places that we spend our time. And I thought that our products should be available there.
And especially healthy products, right? Because I could go to retail stores, and I'm not trying to by no means, I won't, let me not name any products. Maybe one day they might be a sponsor of this show, right? But big retail stores and get those brands. But let's be honest, to produce at that scale, sometimes on quality ingredients. So there's a lot of there might be a lot of preservatives or chemicals in those type of ingredients, in those type of products, but to get smaller batch products that have quality ingredients that are good for your skin, it's always a specialty buy, right? It's and why should it have to be a specialty buy? I do feel like there's been a lot of great strides when it comes to, like you said, makeup or even hair care, right? But from a body care standpoint, I'm thinking about it now. A lot of times I just buy wholesale shea butter from the beauty supply store because I don't have time to try.
Right. You don't have time. Yeah. The shea butter is going to perform the way you want it to perform. Right. And some of these other products you may not know, but yeah, I think, that's why we want sprays to be available everywhere. But yeah, that's the gap in the market that I really saw. And, so that was really the point of entry for me. And then probably just, I just developed those, personal skills to be able to effectively just kind of gain those retail partnerships.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
What was something that you didn't realize about, what was something that, let's talk about challenges a little bit, right? What was a major challenge for you along this journey? And maybe something that you truly did not realize it would be this hard until you were in it doing it.
Let's see. Well, I think we're kind of going through a challenge right now. So, and I think when you start off small, when you start off small batch, you're making products, at home initially, and then when you scale, right? Like when you are at the point where it's going to require significant investment to reach the people and make the money that you need to make. It's a challenge because it requires not only, a new level of capital, a new level of resources and equipment and tools and all those things, but it requires from a personal development standpoint, a new level of yourself. It requires a level of self-mastery that you really have to achieve to meet this next level in your business, right? And so for me, it is really kind of leaned into, self-confidence versus self-worth, right? Do you really think that you are worthy of achieving the goals that you've set for yourself? Do you are confident because, you have success and, and you know what your competencies are, but do you really feel that you can, that you're worthy of this vision that you've set for yourself? And I think that as you lean more into worthiness, then, you can face obstacles from a different perspective. But I think that every new level of growth from a business standpoint has required a new level of self-work and healing, and realizations from me. And I just think that's our life's work, so it's not one challenge in particular. I think that every challenge at that level is difficult because you haven't seen it before, and you have to figure this thing out. And it usually, in my experience, is usually something kind of some internal blockage, right? And so once you kind of work through those things in yourself, then you can reach out to other people. You can ask for help. Resources will kind of start to appear in the form of people, in the form of advice. And so I think kind of with that whole, as long as you're willing to grow personally, that any challenge that you face is really just, it's the journey. It's navigating life.
Ooh, you said so much here. But the theme that I really picked up on was like, it's not going to be the tactical things that could set you back. It's like the intangible, the tangible, like that mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I've had over 300 episodes of this show, and I always go into it thinking, oh, this person is going to tell me, oh, this was a huge challenge. But it really comes back down to like self, right? Like, how are we not holding ourselves back from going to the next level? Because a lot of times you can talk yourself off the ledge when what you really need to do is jump. And there's this Toni Morrison quote I love, and I might be butchering it right now because I don't remember 100%, but it's from Song of Solomon, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's and he surrendered. Something about like he surrendered to the air, right? And let the air. I'm gonna have to look it up right now because now it's bothering me. Hold on. Song of Solomon, surrendered to the air quote. Okay. If you surrendered to the air, you could ride it. Right?
Yeah.
And I say that because I think as dream drivers, that's really the hardest part is like surrendering to the journey when you do not know the exit, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
You don't know the weather, right?
Yeah.
All you got is like your hands on the steering wheel and your foot on the gas, right? But that's something I know that a lot of people are scared of getting to that point, but not realizing when you surrender to the journey, that's when things start to open up for you.
Yeah. Every time I've had kind of where I thought would be the stopping point. And so that's I just think personally, sometimes I don't always focus in on, the individual experiences. But I remember when we first pitched Whole Foods, they said no, and I was definitely, because that was like on my vision board, we're going to be on the shelf of Whole Foods, that was it. I had put my products actually on the shelf, really like we're going to manifest this on the board, and I'm like, how is this possible? This was not supposed to happen, And so being able to a year later pitch them again, launch in their flagship store in Georgia, have the most successful local body care brand launch, that year, the small company. And so when I thought that, okay, I can't do this, but no, I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep going because this just cannot be the end. And there are times like that happen like that all the time. There's an obstacle. How are we going to get this done? How is this going to happen? But if you don't stop, if you push past, like I said, your own personal fear of rejection or failure or disappointment, and just the next day, just get back and say, okay, how, what can I do? What small part can I do to keep moving forward here, or, to move in a slightly different direction here, then, things will eventually work themselves out. But it really is, first overcoming our own internal battles. And then the road definitely does open up. It's not easy at all, but it is a part of the process.
I have a question. Do you remember what the difference was between your first pitch and your second pitch with Whole Foods?
There was literally no difference. And actually the reason why the reason why they rejected the first pitch was really due like to an error on their part and like just not understanding something that was very clear in the paperwork and pitch. I won't get into specifics. So it really wasn't. And that was the worst thing. I'm like, this wasn't even my fault. It was like, so it just felt very much beyond my control. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't the right time because you've done everything you needed to do. If this is the direction they want to take and not reconsider, on the correct information, then this just must not be the right time, so keep going with your business, keep doing what you have to do, and you will try this again. But literally, I think I submitted the very same material. Yeah, there may have been a few tweaks, but it was pretty similar. And so timing is also everything, and so sometimes we do just have to surrender and say, okay, maybe not right now. I'm not going to stop, but maybe this isn't the right time right now. And if this is a goal, I will come back to it.
I love that, right? Like you really sometimes like just have to do it again. Cause as you said, like it wasn't even your fault, but like what if you had said, what if you were like F Whole Foods, right? Like I ain't never doing it again. And then you would have missed out. Like sometimes it's like take away pride, take away whatever, and just go back and do it because you really never know. And maybe like, it's funny because now that I work in marketing and sponsorships, partnerships, right? It's like, it really could just be like one person on the team that swayed something, but like next year, right? The whole team could look different. So shoot your shot again, girl. Shoot your shot again. One of the big thing that I think a lot of, especially beauty entrepreneurs often wonder about is like navigating market saturation, right? Or navigating past like market chatter and finding your customer. Like what have been some tips, or maybe what are some tips that you can share for other, I'll say beauty entrepreneurs specifically, but just, other dream drivers who are building brands, right? Like how did you go about finding your customer and not worrying about what other people are doing?
Yeah, you definitely have to find your customer. I think initially we all kind of get caught up in, what competitors are doing. Let me be priced similar, let me kind of have a similar product offering, but you really, it's trial and error. And I think once you have a product that you're ready to put out into the market and you're making sales, and we don't want to do this sometimes, but it's really important that we talk to the customers that keep buying from us. And so that we can understand who they are, like what are their age ranges, right? Like, what do they like? Where do they typically shop? So you're not guessing at who your customer is, but literally, send them, an email, a survey, with 5 quick questions, right? And begin to dive deeper into who that woman or man, who that customer is. And that will really kind of help you with your positioning. That will help you learn how to speak to them. What do they value? Do they value self-care? Well, I can talk about self-care. Do they value convenience? I can say, well, my product is convenient. Do they value, are they ingredient conscious? And I can call out my ingredients, right? And so instead of guessing, which we spend a lot of time doing when you're a solopreneur and you're figuring it out, really put yourself out there and just ask, because they will tell you.
What's the best investment that you made in yourself?
I think that most recently, one of my best investments, I think, has been a year of therapy, which is not cheap, but which is very worth it, because I think that in whatever business that you are in, whatever profession, you will only succeed as far as your personal development, right? If you don't know who you are, you don't know how to utilize your strengths correctly, right? You don't know how to tap into your superpower, your genius. You don't know how to recognize your habits and then change them. And so I think investing in spending time, just getting to know you and what makes you tick and what makes you work and how you think is priceless.
Ooh, I'm about to double snap for that one. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like they may think, oh, I have a social media problem. Oh, I have this problem, right? We're not realizing, no, like you got to work on yourself so that you have like the confidence to go out and outsource that stuff, right? Like I know for me, one of my big hangups, and this is something I'm working through, is just like my hangup with like my relationship with money, right? Like I grew up in a household where like my parents were like, save, right? And so now it's like, all right, I like to save, but you need to spend when you have a business, right? So that's something I'm working through personally. And it's like, there are little things. There can be like little nuances about ourselves and who we are that might trickle down into our businesses and we don't even know it, right? Like,
yeah, no, you're right. I had the same, I was working with someone on a project and, you know, I'm always, it takes me a while to make decisions when it costs a lot of money. I'm okay, let me think about this. Give me a week.
Cost benefit analysis.
Right. You know, and they were like, we got to do, you know, and so they really kind of helped me to see, you know, that I was even doing that, right? That I was even, you know, stopping and delaying some things because, you know, I have to understand every single thing, you know, before making a decision. That's fairly clear about where money needs to be spent, right? And so how I could be slowing things down because of my, you know, me wanting to save and not wanting to spend. And so, you know, and like you said, those things, they can be unconscious, you know, behaviors and just patterns that we just act out. But taking the time to understand those, you know, will only benefit your business, your job, your career. You know, it's our life's journey.
It definitely is. And I asked you what the best investment was that you made in yourself. But on the flip side, you know, I would love to know, like, what was like a great investment that you made in SPRAISE that really helped, that was part of its growth, or like something that like, all right, I'd spend that money again if I could.
Well, I think, you know, if you know, have a business in today's market, you know, having, you know, an amazing, you know, brand experience, you know, that means having an amazing website. You know, we spend a lot of money to make sure that our website has the look and the feel and the user experience that our customers want and appreciate it. You know, those marketing materials, the videos, the photography, right? All those, it adds up so quickly. But it is a great investment because that is your face to the, you know, to the world in today's digital market, right? And so investing in good branding, that's what will get people to notice your brand, notice your products, want to learn more. So our website, our videos, and even our packaging, those are all very expensive up front, but it makes the difference when someone's in the aisle, you know, and they're looking at your product versus someone else's product. You know, what are they being drawn to initially, right? And then once they use it, of course, we hope they love it. But, you know, in investing in good branding, investing in a good website and good marketing, I think is essential.
Hey, Dream Drivers. So you know how I start every show asking guests the same question. What inspired you as a child? What were your childhood dreams? I remember as a kid, a place I always wanted to visit was Disneyland Resort. Why? It always represented a place of dreams, a place of wonder, a place where imagination and creativity were put on a pedestal. It was just a magical and happy place. Well, guess what? Disneyland Resort can still be the place where you go to fulfill some of your childhood dreams. Disneyland Resort invites you to celebrate soulfully this summer at the happiest place on earth. And yes, you can bring the family too. There's just so many things and so many types of dreams you can put in motion. Let me give you a little taste. If you have little ones, you can inspire their own dreams by rediscovering and celebrating Simba's journey from timid cub to mighty king with Tale of the Lion King, a live stage show inspired by the Lion King. Think live music and dance inspired by the cultural roots of this timeless story. If you're looking for adventure and heroic encounters, visit Avengers Campus to train with the Dora Milaje and see Black Panther in person. Now, if music is your thing, from June 1st to July 4th, you can enjoy Celebrate Soulfully offerings that coincide with Black Music Month. Check out Disney California Adventure Park, where they will offer daily live music celebrating the sounds of doo-wop and Motown, or go to downtown Disney District and check out the Soul of Jazz and American Adventure, a touring exhibit that illustrates the legacy and dynamic history of jazz. Something about seeing the past can help plant some seeds for what you might want to do in the future. And y'all know I'm a huge foodie and used to want to be a chef as a kid. So I know I check out Downtown Disney District to enjoy some Creole cuisine at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen or to try to find some new favorites from local Black-owned food trucks. There are many ways to feed every part of your soul and reactivate that inner child in you throughout the Disneyland Resort, making this summer the perfect time to visit. Remember though, theme park admission and park reservations are required for park entry. Make sure to visit Disneyland.com for more details and theme park tickets. Think to yourself, what childhood dream can I bring to life this summer at Disneyland Resort? And are you doing SPRAISE full time now?
I am. Yep. Yeah.
What do you think lawyer Dominique, right? Like back when you were in your law career, like what do you think she would say to Dominique now?
I think that she would be very proud that I am doing something that makes me happy, and that is more in line with, my true calling and the way in which I want to live my life. I think she would be pleased and would be proud that I, found the courage to do this.
Do you still have like that restlessness in your spirit that you had before? Or like, is there a new feeling that you walk around with now?
The restlessness is, I have this vision, right? And you want to keep going and keep going. And see all the big dreams that you have come to life. But there's a comfort because I'm living it. I'm experiencing, all these amazing things happen. There was a time, when I wanted the business to make six figures, now we get a purchase order for that, one order, from a retailer. And so I think that is, it helps ease the anxiety because you're on the path and you're able to kind of see, okay, I'm accomplishing some of these goals. And so, we always want to do more and, we're not going to stop until it's done. So that's there, but there is a sense of deep gratitude that I'm able to do this, and appreciation that some of the things that I really wanted, I now have, and they're happening around me.
Ooh. And I know you're a mom, you're a wife, right? Like there's so many other aspects to your being. Like, how do you make sure that you still, besides like running this company, that you're making time for self, right? Because like you got to sometimes take your car to the mechanic to get that tune-up, right? You don't want to be stuck on the side of the road waving down other flags like, help me, right? But what are some things?
So true.
What are some things that you're doing to making sure that you're keeping your car fresh, your car tuned up and well oiled?
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Honestly, there was a point, and this is like a personal story, I'll make it quick. I think last summer that I was just working like crazy. We had these huge purchase orders. I think we're just launching at JCPenney, working around the clock, and literally like my back had a spat. Like I couldn't walk for 2 days. Like I could not move. And went to acupuncture on the third day and was laying on the table when she put the needles, everywhere. And I just I cried because I realized that I had I worked myself so much that I could not walk and like play with my son and do anything for 2 days because I hadn't stopped to take care of myself, And so for me, that was a real turning point, in saying that this business is amazing. It's something that you love, but even something that you love cannot replace you taking care of yourself. You only get one of those. And so, now, I have my monthly massage appointments. I will put a break in my calendar to get my nails done. I will take 2 hours to go to the salon and get a blowout, really just giving yourself the time before it goes too far, right? So trying to take those breaks so that you don't get burned out. And so I am getting much better with doing that now, but it definitely kind of took something that was a bit traumatic to make me understand how important that was.
Right. Like sometimes we need those wake up calls and those reminders. Like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
all this does not mean anything if you're not around to enjoy it. Right. Like, if you're not,
Right.
so you got to make sure you take care of you. Last question before we go to our lightning round, Dominique, what keeps you going at times when you feel like giving up?
It's the vision. It's the vision of, Spraise being a company, a wellness company that is helping, thousands of women, and hopefully we'll be able to employ even more people. And so it's really just the vision of being a beneficial force in the world. And it's just like, I can't let this die, right? Like this has to happen. There have been so many doors that have been open that this must happen. And so, I'll stop and cry, and give it a day or two. And then you just get back up and, and keep going, because I know that this company has to be a success. It has to help people, it has to be a staple in women's lives, for their health, the health of their body, the health of their, their mental and their emotional health as well. And so, and also I'm just kind of built for this. Like, I just don't give up. I just don't give up. So, in business and life, I kind of don't know how to stop.
Well, listen, that is a great skill set, a great, part of your personality that's great to have, right? So, in order to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So, Dominique, I want you to tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road.
Yeah, I think you need to have vision. You have to be able to see what is beyond your present, for sure. That's what's going to keep you going. A belief in yourself. So you know more than you think you do. And you have to believe that your experiences, are here to guide you and serve you for a reason. And then I think you need therapy, or some other grounding practice that allows you to learn more about yourself, and have more awareness of who you are in the world. That will only enhance your business.
Ooh, I love those. Thank you so much, Dominique.
Thank you.
Our dream drivers where they can learn more about Spraise, where they can buy some products, or the stores they can go to find Spraise. Let us know how we can support and connect.
Yeah, so our website is spraise.com. So SPRAISE.com. You can find everything there. We're also available at Whole Foods Market, Nordstrom online, and in JCPenney stores. So you guys, please pick it up. Let us know what you think, and you can connect with us on Instagram at SPRAISE as well. We love to see pictures and to get messages on social media.
And I love to ask, our owners, our founders this, but like, what's the one product that, okay, if you got to try this one first and you'll be hooked?
You have to try the almond body vow. I mean, that is a game changer. You will be hooked. Second runner up would be, any one of our scrub devotions. But if you can only pick one product, definitely get that almond body vow. You will not be disappointed.
All right. Well, I'm going to hold you to it. Our dream driver is going to hold you to it now. All right. Thank you so much, Dominique. This has been a pleasure chatting with you. And I hope our dream drivers have been, so encouraged and inspired and motivated to keep their own dreams alive as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This has been amazing.
All right, so that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed hearing our guests' dream driving journey as well as their keys to success. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you are following us on social media. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. If you want to be part of our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly email updates delivered right to your inbox, just sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. And if you are somebody or know someone who will be a great guest for the show, our pitches, we're always accepting pitches, right? So just sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. That's dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 313. Bye, guys.